Hey, what's up? Dean, Safe Performance. We are working on Jeff's S10. Yesterday, we busted out pulling the motor out of that, pulling the motor out of his truck. This morning, I came in, started taking stuff apart, and remembered I wanted to weigh the truck with the stock frame rails up front and the gearbox and all the linkage and the sway bar, and then reweigh it after we get the tube front end on. So being that the core supports actually sit with it and they never go back in, these ones don't anyways. Ay, ay, ay. I'm gonna set all these in here, something like that. I got the scales. The back tires are not on it. You can see both sides are up off those scales. Fronts are outside the wheels. Scales are completely zeroed out. So I'll set the back down. Hold, please. Set the back down. We don't care so much corner weight, front to back weight, the bias of everything. We don't care about any of that. What we care about is the overall weight right now, which, throwing you guys everywhere. I already started making a video and then realized I had one of the jack stands under the frame and didn't trust that it was not on the scale all the way. I think it sat on the jack stand a little bit. It was that one over there. So I'm redoing everything. Hopefully that's high enough. It is not, but I can pull the jack stand out. Try not to pull the truck off the scale in the back. It shouldn't. It should be fine. Throw scale under. Jack stand out. Back and forth. So now all four scales. I think it said the rear weighed like 8 something. Oh, 1150 with the jack. Jacking it up, putting all the weight on it. So, alright, jack is completely out. Truck sitting on it. Oh, it's definitely different from the first one. So you see, actually, I'll take the scale off. Set it over here. And it's bouncing 2219. All right, I think it's pretty settled at 2219. Now, that proves I was right because that's the other weight with the jack stand stuck under it. So now I need to get a marker and cross that out. What did I say? 2219 before. So 2219. Now what I'll do is start cutting everything apart. I got most everything is unbolted. There is, I guess, let's see if it changes it. A box of bolts. Yep, of course. Added 1 pound. 22. Oh snap. 2221. Calling it 2221. Damn. Alright, start over on this here. This is wrong. 2221 pounds before. 22, 21. So now the grill will go back on, the core support, the bumper, all that stuff will go back on, so it'll be the same. But the sway bar, the steering box, all the drag links, whatever that is, idler arm, I think it's called, all of that will come off. Sway bar, yeah. Coil springs come off. So the only thing I won't have is the coilover shocks to put in. But we will have a rough idea of how much, you know, weight we're gonna save with everything. So yeah, I won't have motor mounts in it either. Maybe what I'll do is I'll put I'm probably gonna end up using something like these, so maybe I'll just put tabs there. So it'll be rough. If it's 40 pounds, we know we're not adding 40 pounds back into it. So we'll see. But I'm gonna start getting everything pulled apart. I gotta completely cut this center cross member out, cut the frame rails, get everything tacked in, remove the lower control arms, upper control arms, all that stuff, and all those need to be broken off of the spindle because we're reusing the spindle for now. So yeah, I'm gonna get to work on that and I'll be back. Okay, so got everything tore off as far as the front suspension. I got to take the brake line, push that back a little bit, disconnect it here, pick it up. I pulled this one up, and then I ratchet strapped the spindles. I'm not disconnecting the calipers and going through bleeding the brakes and all that stuff unless I absolutely have to, which I will not have to. Don't care what Jeff says. So I'm gonna take these two screws out, push this line back, and start sawzalling the shit out of this truck. But everything came apart. That is the pile, and I can already tell you between just the sway bar, which I get it, we removed sway bars, so of course it makes it lighter, but that sway bar is like 1.25 inches. You can see it next to the 1 5/8 chromoly. It's massive. So that's like 1.25 inches. That thing is freaking heavy. The steering gearbox and the linkage alone is probably going to be 40 pounds different. Well, I have a feeling he's going to shed at least 100 pounds. I'd be willing to bet. I'd be willing to bet that after I cut the frame rails off, the cross member out of it, with the steering box change, the lower control arm change, just that in itself, even if I put the sway bar back on, he's going to lose roughly, I'll go conservative and say like 96 pounds. But those pieces there are freaking heavy. So I'm most likely going to cut the frame right in this divot right here, both sides. I mean, there's not the same divot on this side, but I'll use a reference point, probably the control arm bolt, measure out, I'll cut, and then I'm going to cut the cross member out. I have a plasma cutter right there that I threatened Jacob's Mustang with, but my compressor in the back right there decided to take the belt and discard it. So it looks like when you like apply boost to a Ford motor. Did that go? No, I'm just kidding. They all let go. But yeah, so I don't have air. I don't have a plasma cutter. Hopefully the Sawzall works out pretty good. So I'm gonna get to chopping and see what happens. All right, here's what we got. Jeff Smurf Got the frame rails are cut, rough cut. Rough cut means they're just cut in a spot that I know is not right. It's farther out. It's easier to take off than it is to add. Well, I mean, you can't really add to a frame, but 2 horns, the whole cross member, and I'd be willing to bet those 3 pieces alone weigh more than this entire tube with the rack and pinion on it. And actually, hold on one second. It actually weigh it. So this is the green, right front, 0 pounds. Now I don't know how I'm going to stand that up on it, but we can do these individually. Let's see how much this crap weighs. £12 on one, and like I said, this is cut and doesn't have the whole horn that comes up like this, so that piece is probably like another pound. You got 12 on that one. I think this one's a little lighter, feels a little lighter. How much? 11, so that's 23 pounds. 23 pounds just in these 2 pieces alone. And then we got ugh. $21, so that's 44 pounds. And that's already cut out. So typically that goes all the way across. So this would probably weigh more like 40, 20, like another 2 pounds more. But 44 pounds these 3 weigh. Now let's see if I can figure out a way. Maybe. Hold please. Alright, so it's on the scale. Not on the floor anywhere. Nothing touching. I don't hear no bullshit. I haven't looked yet. Holy shit. 33 pounds. And that is with the rack and pinion on it. Doesn't have tie rod ends, but that's with the rack and pinion. 33 pounds. So already we're way more than 11 pounds lighter. Just in frame. Like more than 11 pounds just in frame. That is cool. So yeah, these frame rails are actually going to get cut because they give you the plates, and the company is pretty smart. The 2 plates are designed different. The notch, I believe, is the top. So goes this way. So that notch is where the 2 frames overlap, I believe. Because here they have another piece. I don't know what that is. But down inside, see how they're overlapped like this? So it might go that way, but I don't think it does. Because if you look up top, you can see the overlap here. So that would go this way, and that would fit in there. It makes sense because the corner lines up, that corner will line up when it's further back, this corner will line up, that corner will line up. So now, being that they give you the 2 pieces, this side has, where are you, has like an angle cut, and that's for this. So I mean, an idea, it sits like that, but now the notch don't make sense on this side. Yeah, notch doesn't really make sense on this side. But that angle is for this. so it'll actually sit back here. So there's another, you know, 2-3 inches of frame that has to be cut off of this, which would be a little more weight, plus all the scab that's on it. There's not much back here, that's more or less just a weld. Up here, I think most of this is gonna have to get left. I might be able to, I'm gonna cut along here and get a little piece off. I trimmed a little bit off this edge, and I have to trim the inside edge some, like that, to get the tab to work. So the tab is not long enough to go all the way to the bolt hole, which is fine, not a big deal. But yeah, so what I'm gonna do now is work on getting the final distance on the frame. And I'm just gonna keep sawzalling. Now that the frame is off, I don't have any binding or nothing like that. I did level the truck. It's pretty close. So it's hard to see the bubble. Like in person, it looks different than it does on the camera. It looks more level in person than it does on the camera, but it's really close. I shimmed up that side there with a little tube, and what I'll do is I'll carry that level out to the front end, and I'll make sure when everything's in, everything is level. I'll go through, I'll tack everything real good, make sure it's level, and then I'll most likely end up welding the frame plates first. Like I'll do a top, a bottom, a side, side, go around. And then I'll weld the tube in place, because that'll keep the tube from wanting to walk the frame around some, being that it'll be bolted in. That'll be welded, so that'll stiffen the frame a little bit, not much, a little bit. I may put like a bar in there to kind of hold the frame. It depends on how that new frame fits through those holes in the plates. If I have to spread the frame or pull the frame in a little bit, I'll do whatever I have to do to get it right. But for now, that's what I'm working on. I'll keep plugging away. All right, back. I had to run and get some cutting wheels and stuff, but I got the frame. Wow, camera's freaking out. Okay, I got the frame cut where it needs to be cut. Oh yeah, and then basically I cut off as much of the extra flaps as I can. So this is kind of what it leaves. It leaves most of the weld, is mostly what it is, except on the bottom where it's like this tab is folded under this tab over that tab. It's just a huge piece with this lip, which is part of the original frame. So I'm not gonna go crazy trying to get all of this off. That ain't gonna be in the way of anything. I also cut the buckets back more so that the tabs will fit on there. And then on this side, this is what it will look like. And I am gonna try to kind of beat this lip down some, a little bit anyways, but I got all the welds cleaned off, and I forgot I cannot sandblast it because I don't have an air compressor. So I ground as much of the frame as I can to clean it up. Inside the frame is pretty nasty, typical Jeff shit. So outside the frame, I'm trying to clean it up the best I can, and then underneath, that's that tab. Basically what it'll look like. I'm kind of just what do you want to call it, trying to get it like kind of blended into the frame, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So this side is prepped, ready. I also kind of really smoothed out all the big welds that were along there. They were really ugly, so I smoothed all those out because they're gonna be kind of visual now. This side you can't really see it too good because they're covered in crap, and these welds aren't actually nowhere near as bad. So you can see how this hangs over the hole. I ground the hole back to, you know, I don't know, expose it, whatever. So yeah, plugging away. So I'm gonna get this side finished up, and then I'm gonna get the subframe in, put the bolts in it, put the plates on it, hold it in place, jack it up, level it, get everything going, make sure the truck is still level after I've been beating on it. But yeah, I'm gonna get going on that. All right, so killing myself. I got it in, the plates are in place, and the tube, I don't know if you can see, maybe through there. Yeah, you can see the tube is not sticking too far through the plate, but the plates are not big enough for the frame. So I'm gonna take and kind of knock a little cut in the frame on the top and the bottom and knock the rail in to the plate. This side I could probably just get away with banging it in. This one, same thing. Little slice, knock it in, and then I can go ahead and weld everything out. I got it tack welded. I did put the lower control arms on because on the back with the spacers and everything, it's kind of a pain in the ass to get the bolts in. It's not perfectly lined up. Whenever you weld something on a jig, it tends to spring a little. So I think that's what overall happened when they welded this out. It sprung in a little, which is typical of you know, welding something like this. So not a huge big deal. It's not nothing crazy, but I got the frame level with that one. I knocked it around welding, and then the front end's level with the 6-foot level. So I'm gonna get back to welding it out, and then get the control arms on, the upper control arms on, and then put the spindles back, build the temporary shock, I guess you could say. Yeah, so that hopefully I can get this back on the scales today. It's 3:36. I think I'll be in good shape. I think I'll get it back on the scales today. And we will see what we saved as far as weight. Also, I took the motor mounts off the frame and I kind of set them up on the truck. Those pieces were on the frame, so we're going to use something kind of similar to those. If not those, probably not those, but something similar to those. So we'll know how much weight we're saving shortly. Stick with me. Be right back. All right, about an hour and a half later, and it's fully welded in. The welds aren't too bad. He wants dimes, I gave him nickels. But the inside of the frame, I tried to wire wheel it out, but without being able to get it super clean, all the contamination kind of comes through. So I'll probably end up, see, like over here, it blows it out, and I'll probably end up, like, this is clean. The plate and the tube are clean, so the welds come out nice. Same with this side. But when you have dirty and clean, it's just hard. I'll end up probably just cleaning the edges up because some of them are a little sharp. But I'll knock them down, make it look good. And then I'm gonna throw a coat of paint on it real quick. I gotta tape off the lower arms. Throw a coat of paint on it, maybe. We'll see. But that's the frame of the truck. So it's going from the, like, right where the shock bolt is. You can just see the edge of it. That's kind of how I know my level is straight. And it's pretty much damn near level. And then I took my smaller level across the subframe, and it is damn near level, if not perfect. So I got it all in. I'm gonna get the upper control arms on it. Well, maybe I'll paint the frame. Yeah, I'll paint the upper frame rails real quick, and then I'll throw the upper control arms on it. Let the spindle sit on the lower control arms. Figure out a bar to go in there. And move on. I'll be back again. Okay. Nightmare. But I actually had the lower control arms reversed, and I didn't realize it because I looked at the factory ones and it appeared the way I put them was right, but I don't know if I mixed up in the pile, but whatever. So it was good because I took the lower control arms off, painted everything. It ain't perfect by any means. I am not a painter. And then with all the grease and the grime back there, but the tube part of it looks good. All control arms are on. The spindles are back on. Like I said, I got to make a rod to hold it up so that we can put it on the scale. But I'm out of time today. Holy dirt shit on me. Whatever. I'm out of time today, so that'll be tomorrow's video. Yeah, so tomorrow we'll try to get the rod. Well, not try. I'll make the rod so that we can set it on the scales, see where we're at weight-wise, and then start looking at putting the motor back in and trimming up the area by the transmission tunnel to get that bolt a little bit easier. Yeah, and then start final assembly on everything else, doing the intercooler, charge pipe, getting the turbo mounted. I don't think that'll be in the way because the turbo sits above the bumper. Yeah, it shouldn't be in the way, but appreciate you watching. Thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to be notified of new videos, and leave me a comment. Have a good day.